has been all Hokies so far. The Orange trying to change that at Skytop Softball Stadium this afternoon. Zealand Shannon and Faith Kane with you to take a look at what happened earlier today. A dominant performance from the Virginia Tech offense.
It was dominant for sure. Canna Davis and Alexis Milius, both with home runs, and Kilo Richard was dominant in the circle, and unlucky for Hughes, she'll be in the circle again.
Alexa Romero, the Syracuse ace, will make her first appearance of today, her second of the series. She struggled a little bit yesterday.
She did. She was a little bit more wild than what we've seen from Romero. Balls were going to the backstop, balls in the dirt. Definitely something that we're usually not used to. But again, she's going to start using that rise ball just like Richard on the other side, and she'll be using that curve and screw as well.
Very similar lineup for Virginia Tech from game one of the doubleheader. If you are with us, if you were not, Kelsey Brown, Cameron Fagan, and Canna Davis are due up this inning, with Bailey, Bennett, Milius, Green, Lauder, and Troll down the rest. Kelsey Brown had a solid game one after a 1-for-5 performance. It's well below her average on Friday, but she swings and misses, and that performance was against Romero. How much do you think that factors in when against a particular pitcher you struggle earlier in the series?
You know, you really just got to refocus in and realize what Romero was throwing to her yesterday. You know, it was a lot of rise ball, working on that curveball on the outside corner. So that's what Kelsey Brown needs to look for.
Brown sent one skyward. Clyde is under it, makes the catch, the third baseman for Syracuse. And I read you the last names real quickly, but this is what it looks like in full color, HD. Virginia Tech with a very threatening lineup top to bottom.
They're going to be super fast on the bases, and I mean the people you really want to watch out for, Kelsey Brown and Cameron Fagan right off the top. They have had hot bats. Kelsey Brown, yes, struggling the other day, but really these two are dominant up top.
Kelsey Brown did go 1 for 3 earlier today, so Fagan struggled in game two, but in game one of the series was 4 for 4 and came into today hitting .579 in her last 5. It's hard to be hotter than that. Did you ever have a streak where you were just that good for a short period of time?
You know, it really does happen, and then all of a sudden it's like you get super ice cold, and those are the worst moments. But, you know, once you get that one swing in, maybe that one hit, then it's kind of like you really find your groove again.
Fagan was shut down by Miranda Hearn in the back half of this doubleheader's opening game. It was 2 explosive innings for Virginia Tech, 4 runs in the first and 7 in the third that put all 11 runs on the scoreboard as Romero falls behind 3-1. There's an added challenge for Romero against Virginia Tech. She is not brilliant against left-handed hitters. She is brilliant against right-handed hitters, but you notice back-to-back lefties to start. The 3-1s fouled away.
Well, one thing Romero actually really likes to do is when she does have a lefty, since being a left-handed pitcher, she likes to throw that curveball on the inside corner. So it's going to actually look like it's coming towards the batter and then come right in on the inside corner.
Come on, Lex, me and you, kid, come on.
The payoff, swing and a miss, and Alexa Romero has struck out Cameron Fagan and announces her presence. Syracuse trying to change the chakra of this game in this series by taking control of the momentum.
You know, Romero's the perfect person to have in the circle in a moment like this. She's one of those players that likes to come out and, you know, she just has some fire underneath her, but, you know, she is a leader out there, and she's not going to let the past 2 games affect her performance today. This is kind of the person you want in the circle to really bring your team back into it.
And it's worth noting momentum-wise that although Virginia Tech has won in 2 blowouts, thanks in part to this woman right here, Canna Davis, and her 3-run home run in the third inning of game one. Well, Virginia Tech's been retired 9 straight right now, and that is over. A ball in all the way to the corner in left field that got through the infield, and Davis will jog into second for a 2-out double.
That's another hit. That's just one of those spots that you just hope no hitter ever hits the ball to. But Davis, she's really got a hot bat today. That was an outside pitch that she was able to pull and kept it right down the left field line.
Kana Davis now 2 for 4 in the series, and she will be pinch run for. That brace on the right knee needs to have some protection. And we will see Emma Ritter, who started game 1 of the series, try and use her speed. Just 3 for 4 on stolen bases this year, but plenty of giddy up. First pitch is a strike to Jamie Bailey, who is an all-ACC, all-everything type of player. Holding down the first base position every day, day in and day out for Virginia Tech. She also can step into the outfield from time to time, Bailey. Hasn't needed to do that in this series, and she is now leveled at 1-1. She's the type of player that can really assert herself, but she hasn't done so yet in Syracuse. Big spot, though, for Romero to try and put up an empty frame to build some momentum.
This would be huge for Syracuse to be able to put an egg up there in that first inning against Virginia Tech, especially how this offense has really exploded against this Syracuse pitching staff.
Bailey, that should get out of play. It does, 2-2. Romero 1 strike away. The pitch, swing and a miss, and Romero struck her out. That's 2 strikeouts for Alexa Romero, and Syracuse, after getting wiped out in the first 2 games, trying to make a game of it. Game 3 for the home half after this. Guess who? Keely Rochard back in the circle for Virginia Tech, the winning pitcher in the first 2 games of this series.
You know, Rochard, she has been lights out in the circle, and it's pretty scary when usually she is better on a Sunday than she is in her first outing of the series, which like a Friday, and obviously she is dominating this Syracuse offense. So we're about to see, you know, if she's going to keep her momentum, whether she can keep it going or not. But I'm sure the reason for her out there right now is, you know, to shut down Syracuse early, get some runs on the board, and then let another pitcher come in.
And Ulmer goes for the bunt. She's the only one with a hit off Rochard today, but that won't be another one, and is retired for the first out. Get you the rest of the lineup for Syracuse against Keely Rochard. It's one that will look relatively familiar as Syracuse trying to stick with the same options for familiarity against Rochard.
It's the same lineup as game 1 of on Friday, and Angel Hasso right there in that second spot, and then Nelly Casares-Mayer. They're going to be huge hitters for the Syracuse offense that's going to have to find the ball.
Hefty swing from Hasso. At least it's in play in left center. Miscommunication. The ball's on the deck. And Hasso hustling all the way around, banging that chest again. She's on second. Brown and Troll just ran into each other.
See, and this is where things can kind of get a little tricky for Virginia Tech. You know, maybe they're getting a little bit lackadaisical. They've beat this Syracuse team twice, run ruling. Now, you know, that's just a miscommunication. Someone's got to call for the ball, and usually that is Darby's ball there in center field. Center field always has priority over left and right.
You could see her mouth moving. You don't know how loud the noise coming out was, but she was definitely trying to make the call. There's just not been a lot of involvement for the outfield in this game and in this series. That's just the 4th ball that's been hit to the outfield, and we're in game 3 of the series. That's absolutely insane, but you can get rusty when you're just standing out there for hours on end.
Well, now the Syracuse offense has been up against Rochard at least 5, 6, 7 at-bats, and they have to know how she's pitching now, what her consistencies are, what does she like to throw. This is really where they need to start squaring up the ball.
Casares Mayer behind 0-2. She had a hit off Mackenzie Osborne near the end of game 2. And those are the 2 hits that I've told you about already in this half inning that Syracuse has in this entire series. But this is the first time Casares Mayer's batting with a runner in scoring position. Swing and a miss, strike 3, and there is the Keely Rochard we know and love.
Another beautiful pitch by Sherrard, going ahead with that rise ball again, right up at the eyeballs. It's something that you see out of her day in and day out, and at this point the Syracuse offense really needs to adjust and notice that spin when it's coming in and realize that that is not a pitch that is going to be a strike.
So much easier said than done, of course. Famous quote from Yogi Berra that you can't think and hit at the same time. And that has come back to bite Syracuse in this series. But another RBI opportunity. Now it falls to Gabby Teran with 2 outs and the runner on second. Feathery pitch at 48 miles an hour for strike 2.
That pitch is nearly 20 miles per hour slower than some of her fastest pitches. So that's a huge adjustment that Syracuse has to make when they're facing off against Rochard.
The veteran Teran swings and misses, strike 3. And Rochard strands the runner on second. To the second inning we go, scoreless in Syracuse. Virginia Tech and Syracuse scoreless at Skytop Softball Stadium, but Syracuse is in this ball game. And you can feel the momentum having shifted a little bit. Virginia Tech has now not scored for 3 straight frames after just dominating the first 2 games. In the Hokies, maybe you're almost hoping if you're Virginia Tech that you do get a game out of this series to help build your mental toughness. Not that it necessarily needs a ton more building into that postseason. In Syracuse is actually playing with fire the way Coach Depking wants.
Well, definitely. When you're going into the postseason like that, you want to play the best of the best because then you're going to get the best team out of yourself. You never want to play those teams that you can really walk all over. And Syracuse, honestly, just really hasn't played themselves at all this entire series. So, I think Virginia Tech is just kind of waiting for them to kind of get a spark going before they kind of kick it into gear as well.
Syracuse does seem to be garnering that spark. 2 strikeouts from Romero, which nothing quite gets the dugout going like an Alexa Romero strikeout when she's wearing those blades. She just really lets you hear about it and fires the team up. And Hasso getting on second on the air. Bloop shot towards Kelsey. Well, Kelsey Bennett is now out. It's Ulmer that's made the catch for out number 1.
What's nice about Ulmer over there at first base, too, being a former first baseman, we're not always the people that are the most mobile. We like to take 1 step to the right or 1 step to the left. But Ulmer actually played shortstop for Coach Depking over at Dartmouth. So she has very, very good range and is able to do a lot of that over at first.
Speaking of shortstop, there's Casares Mayer for the first time in this ball game, zipping it to Ulmer for the 2nd out of the 2nd inning. And Virginia Tech dangerously close to not scoring for 4 straight innings in this doubleheader as Syracuse tries to rein things in and make it reasonable. That's really the attempt. You've been blown out in the first 2 games, and when you're a competitive team like Syracuse is with this coaching staff trying to light a fire, you just want to end up in a ball game at a certain point.
I would have loved to be in that circle and hear what Coach Depking was saying to her team, in between games. And I'm sure she wasn't too happy with how the first 2 games have gone. But some way, somehow, it seems like she kind of got her team, in a different mindset for this game.
It helps when your ace is throwing strikes. Romero had 0-2 on Addie Green. And for Virginia Tech, now all of a sudden you've been coasting since you scored 4 runs in the top of the first inning, right at 1, right when we hit first pitch. Now you have to get back into it. Check swing. Did Green go? His ball gets away. And Green's got to run to first. They called strike 3. They said she went around and the inning is over. And nobody's more confused than Addie Green herself. She's saying she didn't go, but the call was made. Lauren Esteriak, the home plate umpire, is the one that called it. Some debate about it, but we're headed to the bottom of the second. We're still scoreless, but Virginia Tech thought it had a base runner there, Faith, just for a moment, but Lauren Esteriak says third strike swinging.
Yes, a little bit confusion here, and it looked like she did break the plane of the plate. So, yes, definitely an out for Addie Green, but also dropped third strike. So Gianna Torres did a great job throwing it over to first to get the out.
It's definitely a swing. Addie Green was arguing her case, but that is that's trying to paddle up creek in a canoe without a paddle in Category 4 rapids, I think. She didn't have much of a case there. Now, what is interesting is if Green had legged it out, she would have been safe at first because the ball bounced up and it got caught up against the screen, and it took Gianna Torres a while to go get it.
Green definitely, she could have ran towards first, and that's the little mental mistakes that you don't want to let happen right now for Virginia Tech, and that's something that we could see in this game because they have won 2 games in a row very easily to the Syracuse team. But you really want to make sure you stay focused when, even though you are playing a team, you know that you've kind of rolled over twice, but that's why this game is a little bit closer than what we've seen earlier.
Virginia Tech would expect to win every game of this series, but not by the margins we've seen so far. Syracuse is talented enough to give Virginia Tech a game, and the Hokies knew it coming up here. And this might be the game where Syracuse has its confidence back. Richard trying to bury it. First pitch to Mayfield. She did not swing. Syracuse with a 2-base error to Angel Hasso did get a base runner on Richard in the first, which is very rare. Richard has struck out the vast majority of batters she's faced in this series, struck out 2 of the 3 outs in the first inning. And Leilani Mayfield has been victim to that repeatedly today and yesterday. Check swing, called strike.
Richard now is going a lot more with her off speed, which is something that she just started to use more and more throughout this series. Earlier, you know, she was using a lot of that rise ball and the drop ball, which we'll still see a lot of that now, but now Syracuse is going to have to adjust to her off speed, which is even another pitch that they have to think about.
You think that's the reason that Richard Coach DeMora said, she just gets better as you go through a series? Is it that variation?
Being able to have more pitches in your repertoire and be able to, you know, just have something where a team can think a little bit more about it is huge for Richard, which is why she's so effective even later on Sundays.
The 2-2, swing and a miss. And Richard has struck out Leilani Mayfield all 4 times she's faced her in this series. We'll take a look at the defense behind Richard. So little used sometimes, but Kelsey Brown in left, Troll in center, Davis in right. And Troll and Brown already with that one mistake, the error for Darby Troll. Fagan, Bennett, Green, Bailey is the familiar infield, with Lauder, her 3rd straight game, starting as the catcher. Swing and a miss for Tony Martin. And after that first inning where things got a little spicy, you had Hasso on second base. She was beating her chest. The dugout was loud for Syracuse. Well, now Richard has restored order.
One thing you're seeing, too, with this Syracuse offense is they're starting to choke up on the bat. Their hands are not at the end, which is going to help get a lot better contact. So you notice right there, even Tony Martin, you know, her hands aren't towards the end of the bat, which is something that we usually see, but when you're choked up on the bat like that, you can make better contact.
So Syracuse determined to put balls in play. Perhaps that part of the renewed confidence you were talking about, that team meeting between games 1 and 2 of this doubleheader.
They're just going in with a different game plan, and it looks like it's paying off a little bit more. You know, not as many strikeouts as what we've seen in the first couple of games, but we're still seeing quite a few from Richard.
Well, the first 2 batters choking up on the bat, they put a ball in play. It was a ground out, and then the fly ball that caused the error. But since then, Casares Mayer, strikeout. Tehran, strikeout. Mayfield, strikeout. Martin, strikeout. Gianna Torres, good luck. Off speed, right at the knees. What can you do with that pitch?
You know, right now for Syracuse, though, they really need to just pick out one of Rochard's pitches. You know, she's going to throw a rise ball, drop ball, and a changeup. I would go up to bat and say, okay, I'm going to crush her changeup. Then I would sit and wait for that pitch. Otherwise, you're not going to hit the ball because right now they're just guessing and they're swinging at balls that aren't even strikes. So right now, you know, lay off that rise, look low, and then focus maybe on one pitch, which is her drop and change, and go after it.
She didn't swing, so it's 1-1. Able to lay off the rise ball that's caused so many problems for the Orange, and Keely Richard has thrown so well throughout this series. 2 balls and a strike. The dugout atmosphere is such an important part of what Syracuse is trying to do and trying to build as a program. When you talk to the staff, that's what they're so excited about. And there's a feeling in this third game that there is an energy in the dugout that wasn't there for the first 2. Keely Richard having to deal with an energized foe.
Syracuse has a lot more energy. Usually they're going to be super loud in the dugout. They love dancing, you know, banging on the dugout, anything that they can do to make some noise, where Virginia Tech is just all about business. You know, they're not going to make much noise over there at all. And it's not like they don't have respect or anything like that, but they're just super honed in and focused on what they want to do.
It's interesting the way that Coach Pete DeMoore talks about it. He says, look, we have no problem with other teams that love to be loud. And that's just not who we are. We show up and just take care of business. And they don't get too high. They don't get too low. Richard, a good example of that. Torres able to put it in play, fielded by Bailey over to first. And the second inning is over. The story of this game is still yet to be written. We're headed to the third. No score. And the trumpets bring us into the top of the third inning. Virginia Tech and Syracuse are scoreless. Here on ACC Network Extra, thank you for joining us, seeking us out on this fine Saturday afternoon. Alexa Romero back into the circle. Sunglasses in tow, and she has been really good through 2 against a great Virginia Tech team.
It's a different Romero that we're seeing right now than what we saw game 1. Game 1, balls to the backstop in the dirt. Now, a little bit more control.
But it is worth noting that it was the second time through the lineup that caused huge problems from Romero against Virginia Tech. She gave up 3 base runners the first time through the lineup, but not a run until they went through the lineup a second time on Friday. Lauder, Troll, and then it's Brown at the top of the lineup this inning. Foul pop-up from Lauder, and it's the first out, easy enough. Still all according to plan. The question is, when will Syracuse be able to manufacture some offense? For Virginia Tech, with a pitcher like Keely Richard, how much does that free you up offensively? Clearly plenty enough to swing at the first pitch. Troll puts it in the air. Tony Martin has a beat on it from center, battling the sun, able to make the catch, and that's 3 pitches and 2 outs for Alexa Romero.
The lower Romero can keep her pitch count, the better. She's going to want to stay as fresh as possible. We've seen Romero start to struggle later in games, so it's huge for her to have quick innings like this.
Well, Brown takes the first pitch low and in. I'll reframe the question for you. How much does it free you up as an offensive player, assuming somebody doesn't hit the ball in the next 3 seconds?
You know, it's a good feeling for Syracuse to be able to hold Virginia Tech right here.
We'll get into that later because Alexa Romero is on fire. She's gone through the first 10 batters without allowing a run. Well, Virginia Tech has failed to score the first time through its lineup for the second time in this series, but still there's a feeling of comfort as long as you have Keely Richard in the circle.
Definitely. When Keely Richard is in that circle, you know, Virginia Tech knows that she's going to hold it down and she's not going to let anything phase her. What's really cool, too, is, you know, you really don't see any emotion out of her. She's just out there, and she has the straightest face. If a player hits a home run, same thing if she were to strike out a batter.
Reba Clyde, who did walk against Keely Richard in the no-hitter she threw on Friday, will lead the inning off. Then Paris Woods, then back over to the top of the order with Callie Ulmer. First pitch swinging, Clyde's hit it well into left. It's just hung up in the air, though, for Kelsey Brown.
And even though that was an out for Reba Clyde, that was good contact. I mean, first pitch, she was really short to the ball, which is something that she has really struggled with, is having a super, super long swing. So she was super short, able to get that inside pitch and turn on it. And it was still a hard hit. You know, outfield, we haven't seen many of those today.
You can see what it meant as Clyde went into the dugout. All smiles all around for being able to barrel something up. More of that for Syracuse if you're an Orange fan. And Keely Richard looks just slightly just a little bit more touchable than she did in game one of this doubleheader, where she struck out the first 9 batters. Paris Woods, it was 8 of the first 9. It was a raucous start to a ball game, the likes of which you just don't normally see. Her ability to throw strikes with consistency is almost unparalleled as Woods continues to try and use her speed to no success.
Well, Richard is big on, getting ahead in batter. So either your first or second pitch every time you face Richard is probably going to be a strike, which is why Syracuse needs to be aggressive, because those are the pitches that are going to be the easiest to hit off of her. After that, good luck.
Woods adjusting the foot last second, digs in, swings, and misses. You put yourself in a hole like that against Keely Richard, it's hard to get out of after a couple of failed bunts.
And Richard placed that well. She went outside corner, rise ball, and Woods needs to realize, she's down in the count 0-2. Richard is not going to give her anything on the plate. It's going to be something that is off, and she needs to realize that when Richard is so far ahead in the count.
Callie Ulmer tried to bunt her first time up on the first pitch of the game. It went right back to Keely Richard, didn't do much. This time it looks like she will take the normal approach. The only Syracuse player with a hit off Keely Richard in this series. She knocked her out of the game with it last game 2 in the last game of this doubleheader. Richard now with 12 2/3 under her belt, just the 1 hit. And Ulmer came around to score, which is incredibly harsh. So it's 1 hit and 1 earned run. And the hit that produced the RBI was off Mackenzie Osborne. 1-1. Make it 1-2. But just in case you are worried that Richard was losing her grip, the other 4 times Callie Ulmer has faced Richard in this series, she struck out. 1-2.
Callie Ulmer in there has really, she's seeing the ball, she's fouling them off, but Richard is keeping her count super, super low, which is part of the reason why that she can, this is her 3rd game in 2 days. Now with softball, you can pitch as many games as you want in a day. I mean, I remember when I was playing travel softball, at one point I had 5 games in 1 day, and I pitched all 5 of them. So when, it's a little bit different with baseball where, you're only allowed a certain amount of pitches, but with softball, when you have an ace like Richard, you can take them all the way to the College World Series just on 1 pitcher. You don't need a whole pitching staff.
And you do see some teams that are trying to develop a pitching staff in a model where you use multiple pitchers in a game. As Ulmer hits it to shortstop, it's fielded by Bennett, who really hasn't been involved at all in this series defensively until now. She brings the 3rd inning to a close. We're scoreless to the 4th. Alexa Romero back to the circle for the top of the 4th inning. And we talked so much about Keely Richard, and rightfully so. She's been unbelievable in this series. But today, in game 2 of this doubleheader, Romero has stuck right with her.
Romero's going to have to practically be perfect today. If Syracuse wants to beat Virginia Tech, especially when you have an offense that is struggling as much as they are, Romero is going to have to be nearly perfect in the circle to shut down this Virginia Tech offense.
And she'll start this fourth inning against Cameron Fagan, who has been nearly perfect in this series. She did strike out to open Game 3, but she was 4 for 4 with a walk to boot in Game 1. Fly ball should be easy enough for Martin if she finds it in the sun, and she does. Next up is Kana Davis, who, despite not starting on Friday, made a pretty big impact earlier today.
It was huge for Virginia Tech, coming up, really just opening up the entire game, and it was a no-doubter right dead center field.
That's how you work your way back into the starting lineup for Kana Davis. She's been hobbled a little bit, and it's not Kana Davis, naturally. Of course, it's Emma Ritter, who's come up to bat here in the fourth inning. Kana Davis doubled in the first, and this might have something to do with the observation I was just making, because Kana Davis hit the home run. When she crossed home plate, she winced. And then when she hit the double back in the first inning, they immediately brought Emma Ritter in as a pinch runner because Davis was limping off. And Ritter is grounded out to short, but that might have kept Kana Davis out of the game.
She does have that brace on her leg, and we don't know exactly what's going on. So she could be perfectly fine, but Ritter, Davis has done a good job, coming in that home run big time and then that double in this game. So
it's one of those things where Ritter is a perfectly capable starter. She was in the lineup in Game 1. She's got your 39th appearance of the season. She's hitting .253 and is a really good base stealer at 14 for 15. So it's not a surprise to see Ritter. It's more of a surprise to see Davis come out. And we obviously don't know for sure why, as Bailey strokes one to center. Jamie Bailey up towards the wall, and it's out of here. Jamie Bailey with a 2-out homer to break open the scoring out of nowhere off Alexa Romero.
That was a pitch that Romero just left right up in the zone, right at the letters. Perfect ball to be able to hit out of the field, and Jamie Bailey was able to just stay right on top of it. And it looks like the sun actually got in the way of Tony Martin a little bit. It looked like one of those perfect balls, perfect balls to be able to go to the fence, find it, and catch it right over that home run. So Tony Martin just missed it with the sun kind of in her eyes, but Bailey, she stayed right on that, and he was able to take it right dead center.
But Jamie Bailey has just not been able to influence this series the way she would have hoped. She wasn't retired in Game 1, but it was a walk, a hit by pitch, and a single. She kind of struggled on Friday. She was 1 for 4. Struck out in her first at bat today. But when you have somebody who's first team All-ACC that is that good, it's just a matter of time until they do something like that. They hit a home run, and what a big home run it is. Remove the other 2 games of this series from the equation. We have a ball game here. In Game 3, it's the fourth inning, and Virginia Tech just grabbed the lead by 1.
And sometimes that's kind of all you need to kind of break out of your little funk that you're in. And for her, she was able to see it really, really well. And after that, maybe she's going to be on. She hasn't done her best in this entire series, but maybe that was exactly what she needed.
Bennett hit well to right field. It is an inch foul. Angel Hasso was right there. That's unfortunate for Tony Martin, also losing the ball in the sun. This is such a talented defensive outfield for Syracuse, and they've been waiting for an opportunity to make a play like that.
That's something that Coach Debking says that she's looking for, are those big plays over the fence just like that. She plays this little arcade game with the team where they win prizes for amazing plays or amazing things that they do during practice or games. And one thing that the team has not won yet is a white pair of sneakers.
Well, not just any sneakers. Nike Air Maxes.
Nike Air Maxes, which are super, super nice. And so she's just waiting for someone to make an amazing play. And one thing she said is she's like, maybe if you rob a home run, something like that. But, you know, even Sports Center top 10s aren't enough. That's not enough for the sneakers. So it has to be something really, really good.
Well, unfortunately for those desirous of a new pair of sneakers, Jamie Bailey hit the ball just a bit too far to be reeled in. Bennett trying to do the same, deep to right field. Hasso back towards the wall, and it's foul. That Sun, you can tell it's just playing games with the reads these outfielders are trying to make.
The sun gets really, really tough at Skytop Stadium, especially when it gets later here in the day. The sun's going to start dropping right in front of that right field, and you'll even notice maybe Callie Almer over there at first base. She may not even be able to really see the ball, but right now it's really high in the sky. You can tell everyone has their sunglasses on, hats, whatever they need to do to be able to see that ball.
Angel Hasso's the most determined to get those shoes from what we've heard. In the series against Virginia, she would be running towards the dugout trying to catch a foul ball, and she would be yelling while she was running to try and make the catch, "There go my shoes," while she was trying to reel that ball in. So you know she's determined to try and make a play that is good enough. The count is full to Bennett. Hit well again, and this time it gets through the left side of the infield for a single. There's a long battle for Bennett, but it pays off.
It was another pitch that was on the outside corner, and it looked like Reba just didn't quite have the reaction time to get that ball, but Paris Woods did a great job getting it into second, because that's one thing that Virginia Tech does is they will take extra bases. If Paris Woods was a little lazy out there in left field, they'll go ahead and take second base.
You could tell there were some nerves involved in that quick relay. Now Alexa Milius, who also, she hit a home run game one of this doubleheader after not playing in game one of the series. Might be making a change, perhaps a pinch runner for Bennett, because this game is close, and Kelsey Bennett not a base stealer, which is rare for Virginia Tech. Even though she's the shortstop, she has not attempted a stolen base all year. So they will reach into the bench and bring out Maddie Federico, who's 1 for 3 on steal attempts in limited action. Bunch shown, steal goes, Torres the throw, not in time, and Federico has put herself in scoring position. Talk about knowing your role and doing your job.
That's one thing that Coach Deb King said was going to happen a lot this game. You know, showing the bunt, setting it up, and it looked like that ball was just thrown on the wrong side of the bag. If the ball was thrown by Torres just to the left, she may have got her.
Now it is an RBI opportunity for Alexa Milius. Romero's been close to ending this inning for a while, got the 2 outs in a row. Then Bailey with the homer, the single from Bennett, stolen base from Federico, who came in for her. And this has turned into a bit of an ugly inning for Romero. Milius loves hitting against lefties, too. She has a hitter's count and smokes one back up the middle, and this might just score Federico. She's coming across home plate, and it's 2-0 Hokies.
Virginia Tech is really starting to just string together, you know, little hits here and there. Obviously, the big hit we had earlier in this game. But Alexa Milius did a great job just getting that ball through the middle of the infield. And Federico was easily able to score.
It's amazing how these things can snowball. Just one hit in the first 3 2/3 innings, and Virginia Tech has strung 3 straight hits together. And that's going to prompt the meeting to try and sort things out. What are you telling Alexa Romero in this situation?
Right now, you know, just focus on yourself. Don't worry about your other hitters. Now, warming up in the bullpen, you know, for Syracuse, they have Lindsay Hendricks. She did come in game 1 against this Virginia Tech offense and did struggle a little bit. Gave up a few runs. She's a freshman, and she's someone that's kind of completely different than Romero, but I wouldn't pull Romero just yet. You know, I would, you know, maybe 4 runs on the board from Virginia Tech before I would.
A big swing from Addie Green could change all that. She had the bizarre strikeout that she didn't know she struck out on play that happened in the second inning. Has a chance to redeem herself. That's where she thought she didn't swing, was called swinging, didn't hear it. And Torres is able to throw her out at first. The 0-1. Quick 0-2 count. Milius is brilliant against lefties. Addie Green hits just 182 against left-handed pitching. The lefties are really a rarity in the college game. She's just 2 of 11 at-bats all year against left-handed pitching. Having been a very regular feature in the lineup, Addie Green.
And you saw Romero there too. She shook off quite a bit off of for Torres for pitches, so she's just looking for that perfect pitch that she wants to throw, and we'll see what that is.
Torres gets it to her, the 0-2. Inside, ball 1. That's a tight call from Nesteriak.
Looked like she wanted that curveball on the inside corner. That's tough to hit for lefties, something that they usually don't see a lot.
A little bit lower, a little more inside for ball 2. And Addie Green is pulling herself back from the brink. This is playable from Green into left, and Paris Woods able to keep hold of it and give it the squeeze. To the bottom of the 4th we go. Virginia Tech has taken the lead. It is still a cloudless, beautiful day in Syracuse. And it might just be a beautiful day for Virginia Tech softball as well, trying to clinch the series here in Game 3. After 2 dominant wins, 8-0 and 11-1. The 11-1 coming earlier today. We do have a ball game here in Game 3, and it's a change in mentality for both teams. First pitch to Angel Hasso, the freshman, is a called strike. Hasso, a player that reached second thanks to a 2-base error on Darby Troll in center. She is the only player to reach. And she's quickly behind 0-2. The consistent greatness of Keely Richard is easy to grow numb to, but Syracuse continues to be unable to even get ahead in a count.
And it's scary when you're behind Rochard like that. You know, when she's got 2 strikes, she's not going to throw a lot of pitches.
Forces a soft ground out to Addie Green for the first out of the inning. It's the situation you get in, you're just trying to put the ball in play, but even when you do, Virginia Tech's got plenty of capable fielders, and basically every D1 second baseman's going to be able to make that play, and then you're right back where you started.
Well, you know, Syracuse is doing better putting the ball in play, and that's all you can do is get the ball in the green, in the outfield, anywhere, try to find a hole and things will start falling. But if you see more and more of the strikeouts, I mean, that means you don't even have a chance.
We did see an avalanche of strikeouts, 4 straight from the back of the first to the beginning of the second inning. She only has 5 for the game. I realize I'm saying only through 3 1/3 innings. It's because her no-hitter on Friday, she had 16 strikeouts and 22 batters faced. She then started game 1 of this doubleheader with 8 strikeouts against her first 9. She can essentially pitch against herself when she's this good. Able to wander into the strike zone to make it 2-1. Nelly Casares-Mayer is really the only offensive bright spot for Syracuse this year.
Syracuse has definitely struggled offensively. This is actually the worst batting average in program history that this team has ever had, so they're definitely struggling. But Nelly Casares-Mayer, I mean, she is way above her teammates right now in batting.
Hitting .342. The next highest batting average coming into today was Angel Hasso at .263. So you're talking about a difference of 0.08. And I did have to think way too much to pull out that word. Full count. Casares-Mayer has not found the success that batting average would anticipate so far in this series. She is 1 for 6 with 5 strikeouts. But it is Keely Rochard. Ball 4. Rochard looking like a child that got her hand caught in the cookie jar. She thought she had strike 3 and was shocked she didn't get it.
That was a very risky pitch for Nelly Casares-Mayer not to swing on. It was very, very close in the zone. Now Syracuse is looking for a runner any way they can, and they definitely need to make sure that they're honing in on that strike zone because they have been swinging at so many balls, but that was a very, very close pitch to let go when you have 2 strikes.
Definitely shouldn't have let it fly. I thought with the naked eye that it was a strike, but there's a reason that I'm not wearing the mask behind home plate. Laura Nesteriak is, and she thought it was ball 4. Gabby Teran, who struck out in the first inning, is now up. Perhaps just a moment. With a base runner on, the second of the game. The first that's not because of an error. And Nesteriak at least is being consistent. That's another pitch right in that same area, off speed, up in the zone, that's not getting the call.
Well, one thing when you're a hitter is when you step into the box, you never want to leave it up to the umpire, whether you're out or not. You know, you want to at least be able to put a swing on it. Like, I would rather any day be able to go down swinging, no, you know what, I swung and I missed the ball, rather than having the umpire put it in their hands and, you know, maybe it's just a little bit off the plate and, you know, it's called a strike. You never want that. At least try to foul it off, especially when you have 2 strikes.
This is the first game of the series that Laura Nesteriak has worked behind home plate. We've now gone through all 3 of the crew here this weekend. 2-1. The bunt again from Teran. She popped it up to Jamie Bailey, and that is certainly not what Teran was trying to do there.
No, and you can tell Teran was very upset with her bunt on that. You know, her job in that situation is just to get the ball down, not technically really get safe at first, you know, but just get to Nelly Casares-Mayer at second base, because then you have a runner in scoring position with Leilani Mayfield coming up to bat.
Leilani is certainly due. She's had a rough series so far. As with most Syracuse players, has collected a whole host of strikeouts, including 1 today. Her average has dipped all the way to 220. But she always seems to get caught in a battle at the plate. Saw 5 pitches and she struck out to lead off the second inning. We've seen that play out through all 3 games of the series. Runner goes. Casares-Mayer is out. What a throw by Mackenzie Lauder. And Virginia Tech survives a base runner to hold on to a 2-0 lead. What a fantastic defensive play by Mackenzie Lauder, and been tested so far this series.
Now batting, the catcher, number 18.
Virginia Tech able to solidify its 2-0 lead as we head to the 5th inning. The Hokies being forced to battle for this one by Alexa Romero, but it hasn't been enough from Syracuse so far.
Syracuse offense still struggling against Rochard, and, you know, this is the 3rd game that they've seen her in, so they've gone through the lineup with her. They've at least seen her 5-6 times, but still struggling laying off her rise ball, finding that changeup, or even getting a hold of that drop ball.
Mackenzie Lauder, as is always the case, you make a good defensive play, you get to bat next half inning. Thanks to the baseball and softball gods, I think, decided that a long time ago. It's an excellent throw to get Nelly Casares-Mayer. She leads the inning off, had a double in the last game.
And that throw was placed perfectly. And sometimes when you're really on a high, you know, when you make a great play and then you come up to bat, you're like, yeah, I'm ready to hit the ball now.
Lauder does fall behind 1-2 to Romero, who gave up 3 straight hits in the 4th inning after 2 outs were recorded, and that is when all of the damage in this game has been done. It was a home run from Bailey, a single from Bennett. Federico stole second, a single from Milius brought her home, but Romero is back to business. Swing and a miss from Lauder, and there is 1 out in the 5th.
That was good placement by Romero. I mean, she's up in the count, 1-2, comes with that rise ball on the inside corner, and it really moved. You could tell, came right through the zone, but then straight up and out right at the eyeballs.
Poked away by Darby Troll. Just the first game that Virginia Tech hasn't been playing with a comfortable lead for the vast majority. Changes your approach to the plate as well, because this game is still within reach, but how in reach with Keely Rochard still dealing?
Virginia Tech has been swinging the bats decently all weekend. So what's really nice is they can just go in and just feel really, really relaxed when they step into the box, because, you know, now you have Rochard in the circle who shut down this offense multiple times. And when you're able to just step into the box, you know, just have a little bit more fun with it rather than pressing a little bit more, you know?
Fouled back. Oh, I know. I don't really. I don't think I made it out of the T-ball league, but that's why we have you here to say what's actually going on. 2 balls and 2 strikes to Darby Troll. Did have a hit in game 1 of the doubleheader. It was her only of the series, a single. Responsible for Virginia Tech's first error of the series as well in the first inning of this game. The payoff to Troll, able to get part of the bat on it. It's a difficult spot to try and hit. The 65th pitch of the game for Romero, and Troll rips it foul. Wow.
All you have to think is that is a long strike. Still goes down in the book. Same thing as a strike.
Farthest hit ball we might have seen in this series. Ball 4, and Troll is aboard. And it wasn't even in play. But Darby Troll can be a menace from this position. 5 for 5 on stolen bases this year. Rather remarkably, Virginia Tech is 65 for 72 as a team stealing bases. You wonder if with a 2-0 lead they'd send Troll here, especially with Brown and Fagan coming up. But that changes a game when you can run that well as a unit. Brown, first pitch fly ball. Martin in the sun up near the wall, makes the catch in the track. But how much does that change the game with that kind of speed?
Well, when you have runners that can just run the bases, any extra 60 feet is huge in softball. You know, a runner on second compared to first base, I mean, she's able to score if a ball gets in the green at all if there's a runner on second.
Now Cameron Fagan. Brown is now 0 for 3, by the way. She is able to hit successfully in 13 of her last 14 games. So that's a rarity. And Cameron Fagan is 0 for 2. It's remarkable. These two hitters at the top of the lineup both came into today hitting well over 400 in their last 5 games and for the season. Throw down to second. There's Troll, and she's in safe. Torres was close, but no cigar.
And that's something we expected to see, especially at this at-bat at some point. Now Fagan has a runner in scoring position, and that can change a single where a runner would be sitting at third compared to a single. Now they're up 3-0.
Coach DeMoore feeling they might need that extra run, even with the dominance of Keely Rochard, worth the risk, and Fagan is still behind 0-2. Not in an easy spot against a strikeout pitcher like Romero. But you get the feeling that Coach DeMoore is calculated in the way he makes those decisions. The 0-2. On the ground, tough play. Casares Mayer to her left, gets Fagan at first. And the top of the fifth is done with a runner stranded in scoring position. It's still just 2-0 as we head to the home half from Syracuse, New York. 9 outs left for Syracuse to try and make this more of a game. And you'd say, well, 2-0 is already a game. But Keely Rochard hasn't allowed a hit as we enter the fifth inning. She has allowed 2 base runners, 1 on an error, 1 on a walk that got caught stealing. That was Nelly Casares Mayer last inning. It's just the same old story. It's the same old song and dance. Every start for Keely Rochard in this series has been lockdown.
She's throwing lights out in the circle over and over again, and it doesn't matter if this is game 3 for her or not. She looks exactly the same from game 1.
The only show of emotion we've really seen from her at all was when she didn't get the called third strike on a full count pitch to Casares Mayer last inning, and she gave just a bit of a flash of an eyebrow at the home plate umpire and got right back to business. Got a pop out to first to the next batter, and then obviously got out of the inning of the caught stealing. Leilani Mayfield was at the plate when that happened. That's why she's up now. 2 balls, no strikes from Rochard. Swing and a miss. Dropped right off the table. Hard swing from Mayfield, but it's going to hang up about 15 feet from the wall. Easy enough for Darby Troll to make the catch. We've seen a couple of balls make it to the outfield on Rochard, but still nothing doing for Syracuse.
And that was an uncharacteristic pitch from Rochard. That was practically right down the middle, and Leilani Mayfield just missed it, just got underneath it for a pop fly. But if she really would have squared that up, that would have been a frozen rope right to the outfield or even right over the fence.
I've gone to Olivia Pess as a pinch hitter for Tony Martin in this situation. And Pess is a player that the entire coaching staff talks about being a brilliant influence in the dugout, and part of Syracuse and its culture as a team is being loud, getting a lot of noise going from the dugout, and Pess being a player that really kind of leads those cheers. It's a big moment for the team when she's able to get up to the plate, but this is a tough spot for the freshman.
She's someone that has been a great teammate, according to Coach Debking. You know, she's not able to play a lot, but she's constantly in the dugout, super, super loud. And you can tell right now she's really, really choked up on that bat against Rochard just to be able to make contact. It just makes it a little bit easier when you don't have to control an entire long bat when you're up against a great pitcher like Rochard.
The coaching staff also raves about her work ethic. She stays after every practice to try and improve. And Coach Depking is always really honest, said, look, Olivia wasn't very good when she got here, but she's getting a lot better. Not good enough, however, to handle the rise ball of Keely Rochard. And they're trying a new hitter, but Pess unable to make it work.
And I think Coach Depking at this point, she's just trying to find a bat that's going to be able to hit the ball. Just trying to find somebody, because right now her starters are struggling. So she's probably going to start really putting in quite a few of pinch hitters.
Well, there's not a ton of options on that Syracuse bench in terms of offense. The struggles offensively have bled through the whole team. Something that Coach Depking pointed out in our meeting earlier this week was that this team has 1 hit off the bench all season, which it feels too strange to be true, but they have 1 pinch hit, actual hit, all year.
And that's worrisome for Syracuse. I mean, they want to be able to trust a hitter to come in and make an impact, which is why this offense has been struggling for quite some time.
Torres, that hit her on the elbow and a free pass with 2 outs. And if you're Keely Richard, the last thing you want to do is give this Syracuse team an opportunity to make something happen without having to earn it.
And as a hitter, getting hit by a pitch anywhere in the arm is one of those things that you never want to happen, but Gianna Torres definitely didn't look phased from that one.
Just a bit of a glancing blow, and now Reba Clyde, who barreled up Richard pretty well for a fly out to left. Her first time up has sent one skyward, and it will get back towards the broadcast area. Not a full house. Only parents allowed in the stands, as well as, of course, the staff. But it is nice that there's somebody up there to grab a foul ball instead of having to go out there and get it yourself. The 0-1. Swing and a miss, and what a massive cut from Clyde.
And that was a hack, definitely for her. And we talked a lot about her baseball swing, but that was very, very much a baseball swing. You see a lot of hitters do those big type of hacks where they take that really long stride, really long through the zone, which is kind of what she did there. And Coach Depking is trying to shorten up her swing to be able to make better contact.
Got a little shorter this time to foul the ball away. Now, Clyde did play baseball until her junior year of high school, which, while it feels like a simple transition, it is not. And that was stressed a ton talking about Clyde. That it is something that takes multiple years. She played baseball her whole life and switched to softball fairly recently. But she is the best defensive option by a mile at third base, and so she keeps getting spots in the lineup and an opportunity to improve. It feels so far-fetched, but a big swing would tie this game. It's just 2-0 in the bottom of the 5th. With a runner on, Clyde, it's in play. Not a comfortable throw from third for Fagan, but she makes it in plenty of time. And we are headed to the 6th inning. 2-0, Virginia Tech on top. It'll be Emma Ritter leading the inning off. Virginia Tech trying to expand its lead and clinch the series after winning the first 2 games incredibly comfortably. This one is at least a little uncomfortable. The Hokies, 19th in the country, have had some trouble with Alexa Romero in the circle. Just 3 straight hits in the middle of the 4th inning that have made the difference so far. Romero has only allowed 1 hit and walked 1 outside of those 3 consecutive hits. So she's been the ace she was expected to be in Game 3 as Ritter commits to the bunts. Certainly a very quick player, 14 steals this year. Could try and use that to get on and spark something to put this game away. This time swinging normally into shallow right. Tehran tracks it well and makes the catch. The defense after the catastrophe we saw in Game 1 with 5 errors, 4 from the middle infield of Casares Mayer and Tehran. There's the most errors Syracuse had committed in a game this season, only the second time it had had more than 2 errors. It's a very good defensive team usually. The defense today from Syracuse has been much better from players like Tehran, and a big miss from Jamie Bailey, who wanted home run number 2 today.
This is the part of the lineup, too, for Romero where she didn't necessarily struggle, but, you know, is really starting to barrel her up. Bailey, Bennett, and Milius, all 3 have the hits for Virginia Tech, and they're all coming up next. So it'll be interesting. This will be a big inning to at least go into the bottom of the 6th, still stuck at 2-0.
The 1-1. Bailey sends a fly ball, a bit more tepid this time into right center, and Tony Martin, who's re-entered the game defensively for the pinch hitter Olivia Pez, is able to make the catch. And that's a quick couple of balls into the outfield for 2 outs for Alexa Romero. That's something that Romero does a lot. You see from the layout, 9 flyouts in this game.
She loves to throw that rise ball, and today it's really, really working. Like the first game, we saw a lot of those balls start to go to the backstop, It's not something that we usually see from her, and for her to be effective, she needs that pitch to work, and it looks like Virginia Tech is actually going after it. It's something that Coach DeMore said that they are struggling with, is being able to swing at strikes, and today they're swinging a little bit more at those balls. Like that ball that Bailey just hit, that was a ball, and she just popped it up.
It's also worth remembering that Virginia Tech had lost 5 straight games coming into this weekend, so even though the Hokies have been utterly dominant in the first 2 games of the series, this is a team that had its struggles chasing balls out of the zone, some struggles defensively. Even Rochard gave up 5 runs against Liberty in the midweek before coming here, and that sounds nearly impossible given what we've seen so far in this series. But maybe just those reasons for a 5-game losing streak starting to rear their ugly head for Virginia Tech, masked by the brilliance of Rochard. Bennett on the 0-2. Well hit right field. Kelsey Bennett says enough about that. How about a home run? A solo shot for the team leader in homers, her 11th of the year, and the shortstop will touch them all.
Virginia Tech is just starting to square up Romero. As she gets later in games, this is where you can tell she gets a little tired. And Romero, you could tell it was a mistake pitch. That pitch was right down the middle, and you can tell she's not happy about that one.
Sometimes as a pitcher, you let it go, you see the ball come off the bat, and you know she certainly knew. Kelsey Bennett with a big game, 2 for 3 in that home run. She's now scored 2 of the 3 runs for Virginia Tech. And Alexa Milius, who homered in game 1 of this doubleheader, will step up next. This is Mackenzie Lauder. We've done a shift. Lauder's taken over this spot in the lineup and flubs one over the first baseman into shallow right field for a single. Well, that's Milius. No, pardon me. We've got it sorted out. 3rd time's the charm. We got to make sure we give credit to the right person for the hit, and that's Alexa Milius, who's now 2 for 3 as a designated player today.
And you can tell Romero's really upset from that home run, but Gianna Torres, you know, she took that mound visit, which is kind of coming in at the perfect time because Romero just needs to settle down if she wants to be able to keep her team in this.
Grace Chavez, who started game 1 of the series, will come in as a pinch hitter for Addie Green, who is 0 for 2. Chavez did have a double on Friday and is a player that fairly regularly shows up in the lineup. And Gianna Torres is ready just in case Milius starts thinking about it. Milius is 100% on stolen bases this year, which as long as you don't say the numbers sounds impressive. She's 2 for 2. But given the ability Virginia Tech has had to run in this series, you wouldn't be surprised if they did send her. But you probably want to give Chavez the at-bat. 2 balls, no strikes. An excuse-me ground ball to first that's scooped up by Ulmer, and the inning is over. We're headed to the bottom of the 6th. Virginia Tech adds a run on the Bennett homer. We'll be back at Skytop. We talked about it earlier. Fans are not allowed in the stadium, but you can creep up around behind the outfield fence, keep it socially distanced, of course. And the new CDC guidelines, if you are vaccinated, fully vaccinated, you can be outside in small groups, just not large gatherings. So everybody observing the rules, and somebody that just seems to be stopping all over the rules today is Keely Richard, who has destroyed any sense of competition almost this entire series. She's been that good.
She has a no-hitter through 5 innings right now, and she, again, I keep saying it, but it's happening. Lights out, strikeout, rise ball. Syracuse can't lay off of it.
She is the queen of Skytop right now. It's just about the queen of anywhere she walks in at the moment. Trying to switch up the momentum and just reaching for a bat that can maybe make a difference. It's McKenna Fiddler, who does not have a hit this year in a David and Goliath battle. She's come in as the pinch hitter. 0-2. Fiddler is
This is another player that Coach Deb King says is she actually just straight out said it. She said McKenna is her favorite human being ever. And she'll tell everyone that because she says she's in the dugout, even though she doesn't play a lot. She is constantly in the game cheering, and that's a hard spot to be in.
And she's caught looking for strike 3, but it's something we were obviously both so excited to talk about it because Coach Depking cannot say enough nice things about McKenna Fiddler and what she brings to this team with her energy. And she said, look, she could be in the lineup a year or two from now, but right now she's just not at that level yet, but she still plays her role in a brilliant way for the team. And she earns her opportunity to come in a case like this where you just need somebody else to get a look at Keely Richard to see if somebody can find something. It did not work out, obviously, on this occasion.
And Coach Depking spoke both about Fiddler and Pest kind of in the same way, just how they're great teammates and they're constantly, working hard, and they're going to be people in the future for this team that are going to make a big difference.
Almer with the bunt. It's a good one, snatched by Fagan. What a play by Cameron Fagan.
And that was a beautiful play by Fagan. That bunt was placed perfectly by Almer. You really can't do it any better than that, but Fagan said, no way. I'm going to go on ahead, throw that on the run, and that was done beautifully by the book. If you want to know how to make a play, take a look at that.
That's a freshman right there. That's just not fair. Come on, you have Keely Richard, who's unbelievable. You lay down a perfect bunt, and the defense behind her starts to show up as well, and that's where Virginia Tech's been a little vulnerable at times is defensively. This is a ball towards second. Addie Green snatched it, throw to first, not in time. Angel Hasso beat it out, and that's a hit for Angel Hasso to break up the no-hitter in the 6th.
And that's huge. That's great hustle by Hasso, but also got to give it to Addie Green. I mean, she was playing up the middle on that ball, and for her to be able to come over and make that play, you can tell that was huge range for her, and it was a bang, bang play.
That's a tough call. Bill Gamolik is the first base umpire. It looked like he was right, but honestly, I'd need the super slow version. That is a tough job out there. Tie goes to the runner, and Angel Hasso is on first with a single. The first hit Keely Richard is allowed in Game 3. And I know I'll hear it from Hokie Twitter for mentioning the no-hitter as some sort of jinx, but I did it on Friday, and she still completed it. Casares Mayer behind 0-1, walked the last time she came up. Well, now all of a sudden the tying run is on deck. It feels far-fetched, but we have a ball game still on tap. It seems like the postscript to the Keely Richard show still. 1-2. Syracuse best hitter with a runner on and 2 down. 2-2.
Well, if there's anyone that you want up in this situation, you have your next 2 batters to do it. Nelly Casares-Mayer, Gabby Teran. Yeah, they have been struggling this entire series, but these are the 2 that you want up in this situation.
The 2 players that Coach Depking says she just trusts. Casares-Mayer puts it in play, backhanded, tough throw incoming. It bounces in, safe. Bailey was off the bag. It was nearly a play made by Kelsey Bennett.
And it's just little things like that, just being able to put the ball in play. I mean, she couldn't have hit it in a better, deeper spot. And Nelly Casares-Mayer was able to rush that out. It was a good job by Jamie Bailey, though, to make sure she stopped that ball and not let it allow it to get behind her.
Bennett knew that she had to put a ton of power behind that throw and just put it a bit short of the bag. Bailey had to make a choice between a potential out and trying to play that on an aggressive short hop. Teran now, who has been cold recently, but she is just so experienced. She's closing in on 160 straight games played for this Syracuse program. The 0-1. 0-2.
Even though Teran hasn't had the best year, probably the worst year out of all her 4 years so far here at Syracuse, but Coach Deb King just says she trusts the kid. She is definitely out there, and she's going to make plays. I mean, I played side by side with Gabby, and she's just so competitive. She has just that competitive nature and the it factor. And, you know, she is super, super tiny. She is pretty short for, you know, a softball player, but she can move, and she has a lot of power, too. 5 home runs on the year. Leads the team, I mean, in a tie with Tony Martin and Nelly Casares-Mayer, but she has a lot of power behind her little smallness out there.
This is the most danger that Keely Richard has been in 3 games. The first time multiple base runners have been on behind her ever. But ahead 0-2 on Tehran. Heck of a snatch by Lauder. A necessary one to preserve the force outs. Tehran a strikeout and a pop out. But now this is the pressure moment. She's all the way up on that bat. Richard. It's a very good effort from Gabby Tehran. Keely Richard has been able to dial up a strikeout pitch every time she's needed one. Can she do it again?
You know, she is ahead in this count. I wouldn't be surprised. She's going to keep the ball off the plate. Obviously, a big swing by Tehran here can tie up the game, but she's not going to give her anything good.
Certainly would trust Lauder behind the plate. Haven't had a wild pitch all series. 1-2. And Tehran's just battling until she gets a pitch she feels like she can drive forward.
And the more pitches Tehran can see, the better off she's going to be. Obviously, she's faced Richard multiple times today and yesterday. So she's seen a lot of pitches, and the more she can foul off, the better chance she has that Richard could make a mistake down the middle.
She has the only Syracuse RBI in this series as well, with a sac fly in the last game off Mackenzie Osborne. The 1-2 again, it's in play, this time to third. Fagan to first, it's low, but Bailey has it and the inning is over. Syracuse best chance to make a game of it might have just gone to the wayside. It's 3-0 Virginia Tech to the final inning. Well, it's the 7th inning. Virginia Tech with a last chance to try and add to its advantage. 3-0. Off Alexa Romero, 2 home runs from Jamie Bailey and Kelsey Bennett have made the difference. Just 2 mistakes, and yet somehow that's all it takes. Lauder's first swing is hefty but foul. Very impressive from Mackenzie Lauder. She played half of Game 1 of the doubleheader as the catcher and now has played the entirety of Game 2 of the doubleheader as the catcher. Even though they really trust Milius at that position as well, she seems to have buttoned it up recently. Gets a lot of praise from Keely Richard for her defensive ability. Called, and I quote, a great catcher. Somebody that really helps her on her way, but in trouble against Romero on the offensive side, 1-2.
Those are 2 players, too, Richard and Lauder, that both actually played travel ball together growing up for the Williamsburg Stars. So both those players actually knew each other well before college. So I'm sure that's even strengthened their bond out there, because the battery of a pitcher and catcher is so key, and you know, they kind of have to be peanut butter and jelly out there, just understanding what they want to do.
Great, now I'm hungry. It's certainly something that's not talked about enough in the modern game is we have the wristbands, and some teams make the calls from the dugout, but even the only person that a pitcher is interacting with on every play is the catcher. Every play, that's who you're looking down at, who's framing your pitches for you. And Gianna Torres has really developed her defensive game this year for Syracuse, something that the staff has been really pleased with. This direction, and you see the first person to congratulate Romero after the strikeout. is a screaming Gianna Torres as Lauder has been retired after a significant battle.
And I know Romero, too. She loves her catchers. You see her. First thing she does is she points at Torres because she knows she can't get that call unless Torres is able to frame up that pitch on that outside corner.
And now Darby Troll walked and stole second. Last time she came to the plate, officially 0 for 1. And Torres is new to the team, and it's something that's becoming more and more common in the sport where you have these transfers. You experienced it yourself in a more conventional way coming from junior college, but how hard is it to be a catcher in particular with that relationship you form with your pitchers and have to join up with a new team that's kind of in progress?
You know, it's a tough spot to come in, and Torres, too, she came in, mid-season and made that transition. Having to come in where Alexa Romero has really thrown to a lot of catchers throughout her 4 years. So she's really had to just recreate that bond. But you can really tell Torres is already talking to Romero a lot. So, they already do have a great bond out there.
On the ground to second, Tehran to the backhand. Got her by a step. And the fielding for Syracuse has seemingly returned to normal after that debacle in game 1. But all of that together might just not be enough, and that's when you know you're running uphill in the talent department. Virginia Tech is just so good. And it's happened so quickly. And it's players like Kelsey Brown, the transfer from JMU, who just come into this program and cinch up starting spots with spectacular numbers. This is just her second game in the last 15, though, that it looks like she might not have a hit. She's 0 for 4 on that flyout. It's Virginia Tech 3, Syracuse nothing, with its last chance to do something about it next. Well, Keely Richard's given up 1 hit per outing. That's pretty good, right?
Definitely. She is great in that circle. Rise ball after rise ball after rise ball. You just saw it right there, and Syracuse can't lay off of it. 31 strikeouts. 31 strikeouts in 16 innings, only 3 hits, and only 2 walks. So she throws strikes, and this Syracuse team hasn't been able to touch her in 3 games.
She threw a no-hitter on Friday. She started game 1 of this doubleheader and pitched into the 4th inning, gave up a hit to lead off the 4th inning, which broke up her no-hitter at the time, where she'd struck out 8 of the first 9 batters she'd faced. That run ended up coming around, but out of the 3 hits she's given up, only 1 has left the infield dirt, which is just even more remarkable.
What's crazy, too, is she is about 1 or 2 hitters in each of these games that she's thrown away from a perfect game. It just takes that 1 hitter to get that walk or that little ball that gets through, but that's how great she's been in these 3 games.
This has been her by far least perfect outing. An error, obviously not her fault in the 1st inning, but she issued a walk in the 4th, hit a batter in the 5th, and then 2 infield singles in the 6th, where it felt like just for a moment that Syracuse might be able to dent her resume. But it did not come around. Tehran hit a ball pretty well to 3rd, but it was wrangled by Cameron Fagan. 2 balls and 1 strike.
I would not be surprised if later this week we saw Keely Richard as ACC Pitcher of the Week, especially with how she's been throwing this entire weekend against this Q's lineup.
Well, Syracuse is right in the middle of the ACC standings, so this isn't even a team that's this is a Syracuse team that you will see again in the ACC tournament in all likelihood, and so that just makes it even more impressive that you're able to deal this kind of damage. 3 balls, 1 strike to Leilani Mayfield, who's trying to still get on base for the first time in this series. And she is far from alone in that department. Hit well by Mayfield into left center, but it will tail towards left, and Brown makes the catch. 2 outs away now from a second complete game of the series for Keely Richard. And she is, she's close to the national lead in that category. She came in 2nd in the country in complete games. And, well, you get 2 and 3 starts, she might be there, but hold that thought. And that is always welcome to see. A laugh and a smile for Keely Rochard. She knows how good she's been this weekend, and the rest of her teammates just have to appreciate it.
You know, and it's good to see them laugh, too. Usually this team is super, super serious. So just being able to see them have a smile on their face, which I know they're having fun out there, but just the way they go about their business, very, very serious, always looks super, super intense, which is intimidating when you're playing against them.
Oh, they're an exceptionally intimidating team. And obviously this isn't the perspective if you're a Hokies fan, but they've got the feeling of the Empire in Star Wars, where they just kind of walk in, take care of business, and then away they go. And they've really regained that stride, led by Keely Rochard, who's letting it loose a little bit in this final inning. The series victory in their sights. Virginia Tech has one more game tomorrow, of course, but a chance to wrap up 3 of the first 4. Ball and a strike.
You know, and there's a big chance, too, that we see Rochard out there getting the start in the circle for Game 4 tomorrow as well. So this Syracuse offense is going to see her again and again and again.
Tony Martin, who likely would prefer to see somebody else in the circle. She struck out both times earlier today, struck out once today in Game 2 of the doubleheader, and struck out a couple of times in Game 1 of the series. She was the team's best offensive player early in the season, but it's fizzled out lately. Swing and a miss, 2-2. And she's particularly struggled with the rise ball, which is no surprise.
And Tony Martin is 6'1", so when you see that rise ball, and I know it as being a tall hitter as well, I mean, those pitches are usually right where you want them. So those are definitely harder to lay off of.
And she tries to go get another one, but just comes up under it. The second out of the inning, another strikeout for Keely Rochard. This will be her second start, not getting into double digits in strikeouts, but she's still on the cusp of striking out more than half the batters she's faced in this series so far, as long as she can retire Gianna Torres in any manner. Torres, the lefty hitter, the catcher who we were talking about last half inning. Well, she also catches left-handed, which is just strange.
Something you really don't see out of a catcher is a lefty, especially when, you know, those runners are taking off towards third. I mean, that is one of the hardest bases to steal, and as a lefty catcher, that's probably one of the hardest plays to make, having to turn your body completely and try to get that play. Now, when you're a righty, that's the easiest bag to go to, but when it's a lefty, it's a little different and a little bit more difficult.
2 balls, no strikes, and Torres has popped it up. Is it playable? From one catcher to another, and Lauders dropped it, and my poetry is all fumbled.
Those are always super tough plays to make as a catcher. I mean, you got to try to find that ball that's spinning everywhere, up in the air.
She didn't have time to get the mask off as well. You could see her reach for it, and then she decided not to in the last second, and that ups the level of difficulty when you can't get the mask off.
And some catchers prefer to keep the mask on the entire time. Some would rather not.
Deciding in that moment, perhaps Keely Rochard to the 2-2 count now can end it emphatically. 2 days of dominance for Keely Rochard. Virginia Tech's offense held down by Romero, but there's only one Keely Rochard here today. The 2-2 is ball 3, and Torres, to her credit, has fought the count full. You know Rochard wants to end this game with a strikeout. Hit well by Torres, and it's a rip all the way to the track. in center field. That is the best hit of the series for Gianna Torres, who is hitting under 160 until that swing.
And that was a beautiful hit by Torres, and you could tell she is super, super excited about it. You know, as long as there's a pitch left in softball, there is still hope. It doesn't matter if you're down 8-0, 12-0, or anything like that, but she's all smiles over there at first base. And you know, just something like that can spark an offense. Hitting is super, super contagious. So if one hitter gets on, another one follows.
And the bench is springing into action as well, going to get a pinch runner in for Gianna Torres to try and keep this interesting all the way to the end. Ryan Gallegos to first. Reba Clyde is due up, and then Paris Woods would be up after her. And Clyde has hit the ball well a couple of times in this game, but it is all still at the moment a pipe dream.
And just getting a hit like that, too, can kind of shake up a pitcher. Now, Richard isn't known for being shaken up ever. She's usually, you know, pretty straight-faced throughout the entire game no matter what happens. But it can kind of shake up a pitcher when you get a hit, when someone gets a hit off you like that.
Well, it's different than the infield singles we saw last inning, 2 of them from Syracuse, where the ball wasn't hit particularly well, but it just was put in play and it found the right spot. As you see, Richard has now hit 100 pitches. Syracuse made her work a little more than usual. And, of course, a lot of runners have reached, and that's a relative statement compared to the first 2 starts for Richard in the series. Clyde, the big cut. Now, there's been a runner on base in each of the last 4 innings off Keely Rochard, which is highly unusual given what we saw in the first 2 starts. The 2-1 to Clyde, 3-1. 2 outs were registered very comfortably by Keely Rochard to start this 7th inning, and that was the same story in the 6th inning, but then Syracuse got a couple of hits and made things interesting, trying to do that again. Hitters count for Clyde. She went after it, fly ball right side in the sun, and it's caught. It's caught by Ritter, and game 3 goes to the Hokies, 3-0. It was a good ball game, but Keely Richard is just too good.
Again and again, she has done great in the circle, and Virginia Tech offense is still lights out. Romero did well in the circle today, and we'll see who we see in the circle tomorrow.
Syracuse got 3 of its 4 hits for the series against Keely Rochard in the last 2 innings, but it was not enough. Virginia Tech, behind Rochard, has won its first 3 games at Skytop. On behalf of Scott and Kristen and the